What is going on, guys? It's Bucky and welcome to your 8th Premiere Pro tutorial, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you guys how to work with keyframes, a huge part of Premiere Pro and especially working with effects. So I know I showed you guys how to apply effects to a video or a picture or a title in the last tutorial, but in this tutorial I'm going to show you guys how to make your effects change over time. So you're saying, alright, why in the world would I want an effect to change over time? Well, let's go ahead and select this clip so we get all the effects that pop up in the effects controls. For example, if we go ahead and expand opacity, we know that 100 means full video and 0 means totally black because it's totally see-through. But if we go ahead and change this over time, we could go ahead and give it the appearance of it fading in or fading out. So that's why we want to be able to work with keyframes, because we're basically saying, alright, we want this effect or a certain effect to change over time. So let's go ahead, and the very first thing I want to do is add a title at the beginning of my movie. So I'm going to go ahead and select this clip, drag it out, and for the title I'm just going to use this picture. So go ahead, take this picture, drag it onto our timeline, and now I'm just going to go ahead and zoom in and take this video clip and butt it right up against, just like that. Now I'm actually going to zoom in a little bit further, and let's go ahead and play our movie and see what we got. So for 5 seconds we got this title. This pretty much is the image just standing there, and then pop, it goes and starts playing our video. But wouldn't it be awesome if at the beginning of our video, instead of just starting out just like that, it faded in, and then maybe before it got to the main video right here, it faded out? That would make it look a whole lot more professional. So let's go ahead and learn how to do that. So go ahead and select the title you just added, and guys, just go ahead and grab some picture off of Google or something if you don't have a title like this. And I'm going to show you guys how to work with keyframes, specifically the opacity keyframe, because that's the most obvious. So go ahead and select your title, and then the effects controls appear at the top, and go ahead and expand opacity and then expand it again, and now you see this little bar right here. So this timeline is not the timeline for your entire movie. This is just the timeline for the duration of the title. So 00 starts at the beginning right here, and all the way at the end is 5 seconds. So again, it's not your entire movie, it's just how long that title appears on the screen. So what we need to do is say, alright, we're going to make points in time that at that point in time we want to tell you where you need to be opacity wise. So since we want to fade it in, here's what we need to do. Go ahead and start at 00, pretty much the very beginning. And we're saying, alright, at 00 we want you to be 0 opacity, totally black, just like that. And now if you can see, a little diamond appears right here. So we want to have it fade in at 1 second, or sometime around 1 second. So move your current time indicator to 1 second. You can even move this one, it really doesn't matter. And now we're going to tell it, alright, now what we want you to do is at 1 second we want you to be totally opaque or not see-through at all. So now, as you can see, we told it at 00 to start out totally black, and at 1 second be totally opaque. So in between then, it's going to transition just like that. And as you can see, whenever you make a keyframe, it's pretty much a point in time you're telling it to do a certain thing. And that's when a diamond appears. So you're saying, alright, that's pretty cool. Now if you play this video, look in the top right, when I'm going to hit space, it now fades in. And let me go ahead and tell you this. In order to move your keyframes, you can just go ahead and take this and slide it to the right or left. So if I want to make this fade a little longer, instead of 1 second, I can go ahead and slide it over to 2 seconds. Now, instead of my fade taking 1 second long, if I go ahead and hit play, it takes 2 seconds long, just like that. So now we say, alright, that's pretty cool, but how do we fade out the video? Well, what we need to do is say, alright, let's think about this for a second. If going from 0 to 100% fades it in, going from 100% to 0 would fade it out. So go ahead and start around 3.5 seconds or something, and go ahead and move your time slider just like this, where you add a keyframe. So whenever you move your slider right here, it automatically adds a keyframe basically because you're changing something. Another way to add a keyframe is just go ahead and hit this little diamond button, and it goes ahead and adds a keyframe if there's not one there already, or if you're on one already, it takes it away. So we can go ahead and do it either two of those ways. So now we got 0, 100%, 100%, and if we go all the way to the end and slide it to 0, then it's going to fade out. So if we just go ahead and scroll with our time slider, we can see that we're fading in, and then it stays at 100% for about a second and a half, and then it starts to fade out. So that's a much more professional way of working than, just cutting from scene to scene. So let me go ahead and play the movie as a whole. Fades in, stays, fades out. And again, if we want to say, alright, the fade in was a little too long, I'm going to go ahead and shorten that, and the fade out wasn't long enough, so let me go ahead and lengthen that. We can do it just like that. Now I want to show you guys how to navigate keyframes. Whenever you're working with keyframes, this is a problem that a lot of people have. You're saying, alright, I think I'm over the keyframe now, so I'm going to go ahead and hit this and remove it. Oh crap, I accidentally added another one. So let me go ahead and do this, and maybe this. Oh crap, I added another one. What you need to do, whenever you have keyframes already on there, you can navigate them to the previous and next keyframe. So if you want to automatically pop it to this keyframe, just go ahead and hit this, and it pops you on that keyframe. So now you can go ahead and remove it, or if you want to work with this one, just go ahead and hit this right arrow, and it will pop you to that one, remove it, remove, remove. So that's how you can add, subtract keyframes, or move left and right. So basically the only other things we have to worry about is this velocity, which pretty much don't worry about this. In the blend mode down here, it pretty much says, alright, if you have something underneath it, how it blends with it, but basically don't even worry about those. I never use them, and unless you are making a really weird movie, then you don't need to worry about them at all. So before I let you go, now that I have some extra time, I want to show you what I do for my podcast. And this is a really cool trick that you guys can use as well. So I go ahead and I start with a video clip on track number 1. And now I pull my title on track number 2. So what I want to do is I want this title to start out just like this, and then I want it to fade in to my video. So let's say I want it to start fading out at 3 seconds, and from 3 seconds until the end, I want this title to fade out and my video to appear. So my video is underneath my title, so we're good to go already. So go ahead and select your title and expand the opacity property for it, and make sure you're about 3 seconds into the title right now. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this to 100% by adding a keyframe. Now it's stuck at 100% until we change it. Now at 5 seconds, or the end of the title, I'm going to go ahead and change this to 0. So now between 3 seconds and 5 seconds, it gradually fades into my video. Pretty cool, huh? And at the end of my podcast, I do the exact opposite. I fade the title back in, so it's kind of like, oh, the new Boston, check us out, my live show or whatever. So now if we go ahead and play this, check it out. It plays in around 3 seconds. It fades in to my video. Smooth, awesome transition. So again, the only thing you need to remember is these things called keyframes, what they are basically points in time. And they're points in time where you tell Premiere Pro, alright, at this point in time, this is what I want the effect to be. And it's going to stay that way until you make a new keyframe and tell it something different. So if we want this to fade up, we just go ahead and apply a new keyframe. And at the beginning, apply it just like that. So now it'll fade in, stay, and fade out. So there you go. Hopefully you got a better idea of what a keyframe is and how to work with it. And again, if you just totally want to reset everything, just go ahead and hit this, and it's going to clear all of your keyframes. Or you can go ahead, it's going to clear the last thing. Or you can go ahead and just jump the keyframe, delete it, jump the keyframe, delete it. and delete all of your keyframes until you are totally cleared out. So that's all I have for you for this tutorial. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you got a better understanding of what keyframes do. Again, not only opacity, but you can do this whenever you're fading in volume. If you want to bring in a song and you want it to start out quiet and get louder and louder whenever you're bringing in a different effect other than opacity. Again, they all are the exact same. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.